I'm sitting at the Chicago Executive Airport at the Hawthorne FBO. This is where I keep my airplane and office, and I fly in and out of every single day. Check it out. It's super comfy and very nice. So if you ever fly in the area, park here and stop and say hello. It'll be fantastic to see you. Anyway, when I was putting this video together, I realized it was getting long, so I decided to break it into a two-part series. Part one is right now, and it's about putting everything together for the topic of TKS fluid and how to manage it. And part two will come out shortly once everything's up and running. So anyway, enjoy, thanks for everything, and take care. So the last video that we did was all about our cold weather mindset. Taylor and Anderson and I, we kind of told you where our head is at. And there's a few other logistical things that I want to try to do to get prepared for the winter, and that's the TKS fluid. I want to make sure that it's easy and comfortable for me in a very clean way to transfer and always top off our TKS fluid. So that way I never have to stress about, hey, I'm in nice clothes or I'm running behind. I want it as easy as possible to make sure that I get the fluid that I need when I need it for the flight, and not mentally compromise and say, yeah, I've got enough. I've got 5 gallons I can dispatch, but reality is I'll feel a lot comfortable with more. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it's easy and comfortable as possible to make sure I get and always am able to top off my TKS fluid. So I sat down, kind of thought about what's good and bad, and this is what I came up with. Take a look. So I'm in my hangar right now, and I'm in my little corner, and for those of you who know where I park and everything, I have a community hangar. So that means I share a hangar with multiple different airplanes. In fact, I'm the smallest airplane in the hangar. It's kind of funny. But it's really a great setup for what I need. So this setup here can work for an individual hangar. If you've got a T hangar, if you share a hangar or whatnot, it works. But also, I'm a power user of TKS fluid through the winter. I fly nearly every day in the winter, or most of the time, flying into Wisconsin. There's a lot of icing conditions, maybe snow, all of that, and I use TKS in a couple different practical setups. So the first thing is there's a handful of things. One, typically where I can buy TKS here at the FBO, I could buy it in a gallon jug. I used to do this for a lot, and I still buy them, but it's kind of a pain getting 8 gallons of this, cutting open the top and then pouring a funnel, and it just kind of, it's a little cumbersome. So I ended up having last year somebody that was moving out of their hangar, and they had a 55 gallon drum of TKS fluid with this, and it was awesome. So I was like, okay, I'll take this little pump and use this drum rest of fluid. It saves a little bit of money. TKS fluid is usually pretty expensive. I've seen it anywhere from $27 a gallon all the way up to $80, $90 a gallon at really big airports. You know, the fluid itself is pretty expensive, but a lot of the reasons why there might be some markup on it, because it's a hard thing for an FBO to inventory. It's got a certain shelf life. You know, not a lot of airplanes are using it, so it's, you know, to get a return on keeping that in inventory really makes it super expensive to drive on the road, or find on the road, excuse me. So what I was doing was taking buying 8 of these at a time, pouring it in and using a funnel, and it just wasn't really practical. So that's how I ended up with this 55 gallon drum. I bought the remaining inventory from that owner, and created my own like little pump system here. So this is just a normal hand pump. But one of the things that I really want to try to do is that it's simple, but I'm really starting to run into an issue of it's a little time consuming. TKS is heavy, so going back and forth into the hangar, if my airplane's out, filling this up at a gallon or 2 gallons at a time with a little gas can, gets a little time consuming, and you know, it's heavy because I got to lift this on the wing. I don't want to scratch anything, kind of hold it. The wind is usually, you know, blowing, so the funnel's jiggling. It's just not the best setup. And the other thing is that this can, although this has been a huge enhancement from just doing this on an individual like gallon basis, this also is you know, when I actually have to basically pump fluid in here to refill these at every single time, it becomes really difficult to you know, prevent it from dripping. And you know, I'm usually in nice clothes or whatnot, and don't really want to be soaked in TKS. So here's my thought. I wanted to make this a little bit easier, get a can or a transfer a tank that can hold a full, at least 8 gallons, and I could roll it up to the airplane and actually pump it in. So here's what I ended up on, and I'm really hoping that this works. Let me show you. So like I said, here's my little TKS corner, and I would use this pump. It's a little hand pump, fill one of these gallons up one at a time, and what I would do is kind of transfer that. But it doesn't really kind of work anymore. We got a lot of people using the plane. It's going to be it's already been pretty icy out. So let me show you what I came up with. I've got another gallon. Bought this from somebody else that was leaving their hangar, so I'm just about ready to crack into this barrel, and I should get through that for the rest of the season. But the first thing I wanted to do is I ended up ordering this. It's kind of a cool experiment, and I'm going to at least try it. And what's I'm excited about is a gas handle and an automatic electric pump. So ideally what's going to happen is I'll put that into here, and then that will have a little pump. And then what I can do is with the handle, pull this out, and just like filling up my car with some gas, I can transfer it into a little kind of fluid caddy. This is the next thing that I'll pump. Use that handle and pump fluid into this. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is a Scepter Flow and Go. It's really meant for, kind of carrying gas around for jet skis or snowmobiles or whatnot. And I'm pretty excited because this is going to, it's 14 gallons, so it holds plenty of fluid, more than the 8, so I can do a full top off. And what's nice is I can pump from the drum into this full fluid. It's got some wheels that I can kind of roll the cart around the hangar or out to the airplane if it's outside. And then it's got this little hose that's a little hand pump that I can pump the fluid in. So I've got to unbox these and start to see what it's like. But to give you an example, this was about $110 on Amazon. And the actual Flow, this thing was about $200. So all in all, a little bit of a $300 investment, but I hope this is going to make it a lot easier for me, a lot cleaner. And really, the big thing that I'm after is trying to reduce make it as easy as possible on me mentally to say, not take any compromises of, hey, I've got maybe 5 gallons on board that's legal for me to dispatch. I wish I had another gallon or two. I want to completely negate that and make it as easy as possible. I also want to show you inside here. So there's a few things that I'll take if I'm on the road. I've got a little garden sprayer here, which is really great. I keep some TKS fluid in here, and if I'm going to park the airplane overnight somewhere, I'll load this up with TKS fluid, bring it with me, and then it's got a little garden sprayer nozzle here. And you can just spray this down on the wings to get some frost or anything. It really makes a huge difference, and once again makes it a lot easier. I've got a snow brush here that is really fantastic. This is just a nice foam kind of rubber blade here. Doesn't scratch, just kind of knocks any heavy snow off. And the last thing that I bring is a little spray bottle, a little hand spritzer. I'll show you what that is. And I fill that with TKS fluid as well. So this here is my little TKS hand spritzer, and I'll bring this if I'm knowing that I'm not going to go overnight, but I'm going to be out on the ramp for maybe a couple hours, maybe a nice day, or if I park overnight, that's fine, I'll bring it with. If I don't expect any accumulation, I'll top this off with TKS, and that way if frost develops, just the smallest little layer that makes it uncomfortable or unworthy to fly, I'll just take this and spray it down on the wings and the surface and kind of knock any frost off. A little goes a long way in that case, but that's just kind of like you've seen it when you've been flying. You may park and immediately after you stop moving, you start to see the wings frost up. So I nearly carry this in my my back part of the airplane all the time in the winter. It's just super helpful to have. It's easy, doesn't take up much space. More importantly, it doesn't take up a whole lot of weight, and you'll find yourself using it more than you think. All right, so I feel good. I'm gonna start unboxing this, and my good friend Seneca is gonna help out a little bit. He works with me here at Cirrus in Chicago and just started using this, so it's gonna be fantastic. And let me tell you, he's a little bit more mechanically minded. You should see me putting together office furniture versus him. He does a much better job, so he's gonna give us a hand.
Hey guys, Seneca here from Cirrus, and what you're looking at is basically a 12-volt direct current pump. And what this allows us to do is plug this in on top of the barrel. This will go in to the bottom of the pump like that, and you can visualize this being in the barrel like that to suck up the TKS fluid. That'll come up through the electric motor pump here, and once we get this all set up with an electrician, here's the electrical cord, and that'll sneak into the electrical panel here. We'll get it set up like this. We'll be able to flip the switch on, and then with the pump, once that's connected to the other side, we'll be able to pour that into our scepter tank, and then we'll take and roll that tank over to the aircraft and plug that into the wings for the TKS fluid fill. It's as simple as that.
All right, I'm just as equally excited about this as this little scepter tank, and I think it doesn't need any power or anything, so this is one of the reasons why I got it. You can hook everything up. It's got a nice cable and a cord. This looks awesome. It's really meant for gasoline, but I don't think that's going to be too huge of a problem with TKS fluid. This thing is awesome. It's super light. Just pick it up one hand. It's really cool. We can probably maybe change this little gas sticker out, little homemade TKS, certainly put our name on it because it's a community hangar. But man, I'm cranked about this thing. It's weird, never have I ever been super cranked about TKS fluid before, but you can see where the little nozzle is right here. This will set up really, really nice. Seneca's actually getting after it here and setting this up. So this should be really sweet. Once we get it filled up, ideally take from the 55-gallon drum, pump it into that spigot there, and this handle is going to be the best part. You can actually just hold this and basically pump it like that. It has a little pump in there, and if it's gravity fed, you can actually you don't need to pump it, but since we're pumping it from the ground up to the wing, this will be super helpful. I'm amped. So when we were wrapping it around, I was making sure that the hose was plenty long, and if you look at this is really cool. I was worried just for a hair of a second that this would not be able to reach on top of the wing if we were to wheel this thing out, but obviously there's plenty of cord here, so really love this thing. It'd be pretty cool trying it out. So there's part one. Anyway, I'm super excited. I've started to put all this stuff together. There's a few other little tweaks that I need to make, but part two is I'll film exactly how all this works and give a full review, whether or not if I've made any extra tweaks or adjustments to this, but I'm really excited about it. So as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It's really fun. All the comments that everyone puts is fantastic. So until then, be safe, and thanks for watching.